Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. I'm Steve Kim, joined by Mush Lopez. You did it again.
Who did I mush this time?
LAFC.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
That should be in the flurries. We got to flurry that right there. And that's not all me. More on that later. You sprung that on me, you shady bastard.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that later. But touch on that back on the flurries.
Yeah.
Drake.
Yeah.
Oh, boo. I'm not Drake.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm responsible for Clayton Kershaw or Carlos Vela going absent that day. And the Chargers, how about more on them later?
Yeah, every time I look at you, I look at now like a shattered mirror or a black cat like the Monday Night Football
Oh, this is the kind of attitude we're going to come with today, Kim?
But anyway, let's get right into it. So much to talk about. It was boxing after way after dark on the Zone from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. I'm not so sure the two fighters have walked into the ring yet. But seriously, Canelo Alvarez is now a 4-division weight champion. He now wears the WBO light heavyweight title, stopping a strategic Sergey Kovalev in 11. We can get to all the other stuff later. Mario, you were there ringside.
Yes.
Your thoughts on the fight?
Okay, we're going to talk about the fight first, and we're going to talk about the event itself and the controversy with the UFC. All right. Thank God he knocked him out, and there was no controversy there. And aside from those idiot conspirators who think he took a dive.
No Greg Louganis going on.
Let me tell you something. If you're going to take a dive, you're not going to take a bomb to the dome, or 3 of them, I should say, like he did.
He went limp.
You're going to take a Sonny Liston kind of dive with a phantom punch. Yeah. There was no dive, and I was right there ringside, and you could hear those punches. They were brutal, and he went limp. He went cold. He was out, okay? With that said, I had Kovalev ahead, 6 rounds to 4. Dare I say, an argument could be made 7 rounds to 3. Okay, and so did everyone around me.
Wow, really?
I sat next to Maverick Carter, LeBron James's partner right there. Yeah, and slash manager, homie, whatever. And he kept asking. It was really cool, and he was agreeing with me. So the whole time I said his jab is just busier, being active, keeping him off his rhythm. I thought. Canelo, okay, because my mind's racing with all my thoughts. I thought Kovalev was winning. With that said, his jab was active. It was busy. His feints were working. When he got in close, he held. But I was getting so frustrated, Kim, because it was playing patty cake out there. Long gone was the crusher. That was just Kovalev, like a shell of himself. With that said, I still had him winning. Where was that hard right hand that he used to throw down the middle? Or those uppercuts that was there for the taking? They just were not there. Now, granted, Canelo did land a couple big hooks, and maybe he wanted to keep that right hand glued to his face. But you got to have him respect you a little bit. And at some point when you're in the championship rounds, let that right hand go. Okay? Canelo, I thought, was very disciplined to stick to his game plan and to try to work the body. He didn't get inside, which we talked about before, to be able to work the body. The couple times he did get in there, he let his hands go, but it was too few and far between. In the moments where he did connect, it was a shot here, a shot there. Not enough to win rounds, in my opinion. Now, fortunately for Canelo, Kovalev fatigued, like he's proven in the past to have shown. His punch resistance isn't the same, and clearly neither are his hands to not let it go. So it ended up in Canelo's, in the way I probably envisioned it, working out perfectly. I thought it would be a lot closer with moments of back and forth in between, but for the most part, there wasn't. I had
nothing
Kovalev
sustained in terms of back and forth.
Nothing.
Right.
I had Kovalev winning, tactical, almost boring, effective fight up until when he didn't and got knocked out clean. But I was more frustrated by not seeing that right hand go with straight punches, not seeing that uppercut, not having. I didn't get to see the fight on TV. I don't know if Buddy McGirt was urging that, or maybe they were concerned that if they did exert too much energy, he would fade later on. But he was going to fade regardless. So according to what the thinking was, so I was a little more perplexed. But everyone at ringside where I was sitting was sort of very nervous up until that point that was rooting for Canelo.
The scorecards at the time of the stoppage after 10 rounds, 2 scores for Canelo at 96-94, 95-95. I had Kovalev up pretty big after 6. From 7 on, I felt as though you kind of got this. Remember the Boston Marathon? They always talk about Heartbreak Hill. Kovalev was that guy
I've ran it.
that had that early lead, and you're thinking, okay, if it stays at this pace,
right,
he's going to be okay. He hit Heartbreak Hill, and you could see it, and literally from where I saw it on my laptop, it seemed to me, okay, and again, you were there closer than I was, Kovalev was shriveling physically, and you could tell like the battery was running out, and it seemed to me that Canelo was getting a little bit bigger and braver. Now, you talk about why was he not committing with the right hand.
Hold on, but let me interrupt.
Sergio Mora said it best. If he committed too hard with that right hand
left him open
and really pushed through, try to hit through the target, he was going to be in that hit zone of the counter shot, and there were a couple times you could see Canelo laying traps.
Listen, I agree with you, but at the same time, unlike a Chavez-Taylor, where Chavez was working the body and broke him down. This was not the case here. I actually thought he was going to be able to escape and do it because he wasn't suffering too much damage. Just the gas tank ran out.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was getting broken down, or like a Margarito Cotto. Maybe that's another example where he was getting broken down and where it paid off in later rounds. It just went on E.
And by the way, speaking of Buddy McGirt, spoke to him yesterday, and he said, Steve, that was the game plan. They wanted to win this fight one round at a time.
Yeah.
And there was a certain angle, and he even said it in the corner. If we were at a certain angle, there was no way Canelo was ever going to hit us. But we understood if you start laying into the traps right into that mid-range, look, there's a couple ways to intimidate fighters. One is through power and strength, also through speed and timing.
Exactly.
And Canelo has mastered that. Like it's like Floyd to a certain degree, maybe not as great, that you're almost afraid to throw your best punch, because he will take it away from you and use it against you.
Yeah, but my argument to that is it was so apparent, especially in person, the size difference between Kovalev and Canelo. So I thought he could get away with letting his hands go a little bit more just because he did a good job keeping him at bay.
But punch resistance, though.
That's
the variable.
Well, that's a big variable. But I'm saying even still with that long right hand, Kim, I thought he could have let it go because that left hook, he missed a lot too. Canelo.
But Mario.
So it's not like he let him ever in mid-range or they're the same height. It was pretty... he did a good job keeping it at a distance, Kovalev, and it was pretty obvious that had he just shot that down a little bit, maybe he would have got caught. Maybe he wouldn't have, but I think the odds would have been better on him. Now, hold on. I don't want to discredit Canelo at all, by the way. I was just more surprised. That way it kind of played out because we kind of both thought Kovalev had a really good shot. And it looked that way a couple rounds in. I think it would have been very controversial had it gone the distance and not gone to him. It would have been obviously
another one.
But Canelo, again, remained patient. He continues. I'd say he's a great champion. He continues to improve every fight. He's always prepared. He has a great game plan. His defense is, I think, the best out there, somewhat underrated, great with his body attack, and he sees the moment when he did need to step it up and go. Because a part of me, it looked like he took a round off. I wanted to say this, and I go, uh-oh.
Round 8.
Yeah.
Started to back up.
And I said, uh-oh, is the extra weight maybe wearing on him? Is he getting a little tired? But no, he just decided to take that round off and came back in, composed himself, seized the opportunity, closed it out.
Around round 7, 8, or maybe 9, I said to myself, I think Kovalev's winning, but he has not hit him with a punch or a series of punches that let Canelo know you're at light heavyweight.
Even the jabs,
Never.
Kim, even the jabs, they were flicker jabs. They weren't like hits the Kovalev, boom, boom, like those hard jabs, the ones like Golovkin, like boom, like telephone pole cut. Because Kovalev just knocked out that big, young, strong kid Yard with a jab.
Yeah.
And so he didn't throw one hard, it was more like flicker. He didn't want to exert enough. It was weird. It was almost like a sparring session.
Mario,
Does that sound weird?
Yeah. No, there's no doubt about that.
We haven't talked about it.
It
So
was
that's
the
what I'm
pace.
saying.
But here's the other thing. Kovalev was the natural light heavyweight, and he's taller and longer. But you look at the width of their arms, their back, their shoulders, I'm not so sure that he was actually the bigger guy in terms of strength.
No,
I mean, I felt that from ringside that, oh my God, and I said this before the fight, this is a fight where the guy moving up in weight will actually act like the bigger guy. That's what happened.
I've always said Canelo's built more like a wrestler than a boxer.
Yeah.
He's like a little cinder block in there, and he carries his weight well. And I was surprised with the knockout, I'm going to be honest, only because, look, I saw him tag the shit out of Chavez Jr., right? Didn't put him away. And hadn't put away the last few guys he had faced, right, at middleweight. So who, just logically thinking, you think he's going to go up at 2 weight classes, you wouldn't think that power would necessarily carry over. Boy, I was wrong, and credit to him. Now, granted, we do know Kovalev with a punch resistance and all the other factors, but nevertheless, still pretty impressive.
And I think what people are missing is the last 2 punches are the highlight reel. but it was the punch behind the ear, a chopping right hand, about 4 to 5 seconds beforehand, where he started to weeble and wobble, and then he fell down. And look, anyone that says he did a Greg Louganis, look, you could argue the scorecards, you could talk about the influence.
Come on.
Look, the guy is Sergey Kovalev, not Denzel Washington.
Right.
Okay, he ain't that good of an actor. And there's a lot of things that went on. Now, let's talk about the semi-main before we get into everything else. Well, one last thing. Do you see Canelo Alvarez, who no doubt is one of the top 3 or 4 fighters in the sport of boxing, but do you see him as a full-time light heavyweight?
First of all, I'd venture to say he's number 1. Who's bigger? Number 1, number 2, other than the heavyweight. I mean, he sells more than Deontay Wilder, right? So it's number 1. And the reason
that doesn't mean much.
No, it does mean much because he's being the biggest star. I think he can do whatever.
No, I'm talking pound for pound, though.
Oh, you're talking pound for pound. I thought you meant star in the sport.
As a star, he's number 1.
That's
There's no doubt.
Okay,
There's no doubt.
That's what I thought you meant as a star. Okay. Oh, that's what I thought you asked me. What's your question?
Well, I think there's a fearsome foursome in boxing that if you have any of these guys number 1, I wouldn't argue.
Oh, you're talking pound for pound. Okay.
Lomachenko, Inoue.
Okay, I misunderstood. Star, clear number 1.
By himself.
Biggest box office star. Now, pound for pound, definitely in the discussion, which, by the way, adds to his star value.
Yeah.
I think he's in the Mount Rushmore.
You're splitting hairs at this point. Yeah.
100%, yes.
But do you see him as a full-time 175-pounder?
Well, that goes back to my original comment. I think he can create whatever weight he wants.
Canelo weight.
He can weigh 170 next time. He can fight at middleweight if he wants. He can fight between middleweight and super middleweight.
Prediction.
I don't think he'll ever fight middleweight again. I'll tell you that because look, he was solid, and I saw him, and I was right there. He looked like a wrestler. I think taking off 15 pounds of muscle will be detrimental. I don't think he ever fights middleweight again, and if he does fight Triple G, I think it's going to be either at super middleweight or at Canelo weight.
Funny that you say that. I spoke to some people around Golovkin, and I said, guys, we have to be realistic. When you move up in weight that much, it's like a one-way street. There's no going back. You're going to basically go in one direction.
And then you have a performance like that?
Right. My belief is Canelo finally left the door a little bit open, saying, well, if it makes good business, maybe we'll have to do the Golovkin fight. But it comes with a caveat, just like you said. It will not be at 60, may not be at 65. I believe it'll be at 68.
Yeah, exactly. It's whatever weight he wants. That goes back to the star power. Now, before we move on and we go to Ryan Garcia, let's just stay for a second. Let's just entertain if he were to go to stay at 175. I immediately thought, for some reason, Kovalev, in my mind, was 2 rounds away from winning had he been able to keep it up. A Dimitri Bivol
with fresh legs,
who essentially kind of would fight that same style, lots of punches, doesn't get tired.
Yeah,
fresh legs. That'd be all wrong for us, baby.
Ooh, you're going right on the record.
We don't need that kind of man in our life because that's a whole nother ball of wax.
How about Beterbiev then?
Ooh, that's a fun fight. You know what? I actually think, believe it or not,
better style.
He would have more success against Beterbiev, and people might think I'm crazy, than he would against Bivol. Does that make sense?
Styles make
They do
fights.
make fight because I think he'll make Beterbiev. Bless you. I think he'll make Beterbiev miss and pay. Now, remains to be seen if he can catch what Beterbiev's coming back. And Beterbiev, I'm a big fan of. But I honestly think he would have a better. Both tough fights, but a better chance versus a Beterbiev than a Bivol. Am I crazy?
You're not. And also, remember this, though. Beterbiev, you want to talk about a lack of commitment to punching that Kovalev have? Artur, the Barbarian, Beterbiev has never had that issue.
He's coming at you with hammers.
So Ryan Garcia blows out Romero Duno in one. I'll be honest with you. Great result. I wanted to see more. My understanding is, sometime next year, maybe Cinco de Mayo weekend underneath Canelo, the fight that they're looking at, Golden Boy, is with Jorge Linares.
Yes.
Me gusta.
Okay, well, before we go to that fight, listen, the kid delivered that night. Duno's a sturdy guy. He can crack. He came through. You can't hate on him right there. I know a lot of people wanted to see Instagram model get his comeuppance, but hey, listen, he's been improving since he joined the Reynosos. He let his hands go, and he's got that twitchy, fast, those fast hands, and he's got pop.
That speed early is an issue.
Yeah, he's dangerous.
The question is, can he harness it over the long haul?
That's exactly it. But he's dangerous in those first few rounds if you're able to catch him. So can he harness it? And is he able to catch?
That chin is up there like a Pez dispenser.
Still out there. It's still out there, and he's got the dimensions that are going to be a problem for anyone at lightweight. So props to Garcia. He looked good. A star-making performance. He goes against Linares. Then we're talking.
I get the sense.
Now we're talking.
That union.
You like that fight for him at this point? If you're Garcia's management,
look, when you're paying that much money to a kid, and the kid is very precocious, and he says, I want big things. Look, there comes a point you got to start fighting some real guys. Now, I believe the move to Reynoso, Eddie, has worked out. And the one thing I like about Eddie, they drill over and over again. Like, not every fighter has natural head movement like Wilfredo Benitez, but when I watch those clips in that gym in San Diego, I'm a fan of Reynoso because they work on head movement, countering, spacing, and timing.
That's why Canelo's is so good.
Right, and so it's going to take time, and I get the sense that Ryan Garcia, look, he's got to turn the calendar, no more social media madness, don't argue online with Ms. Gamez. Just get back to business. But I think the Linares fight is really a big fight that I am very much looking forward to next year. Now, Mario.
I'm all about that.
You were there for that interminable, long delay, 95 minutes. My buddy timed it. At 8:40, Ryan Garcia stepped out of the ring.
Well, okay.
And it wasn't until 10:20 till they touched him up. You were there inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena. What was it like?
Well, immediately after the knockout, because I was actually back, went to go see Canelo and Garcia walk out, and got there right in time for Ryan to fight, and he blew him out, which was, whoa, that was a lot of energy. It was great. And then I immediately thought, that's too soon. I knew they were waiting for the UFC main event. I go, this is going to be bad. I go, what are they going to do? Selfishly, it was cool because they played the UFC fight in the arena, which I can't believe they allowed, but good on them to at least sort of salvage the moment somewhat for the people there. They got another free fight, not in the same sport, but another free fight to check out while the main event was happening. So selfishly, kind of worked out, right? Because at one point, I was out there trying to watch it on my phone, streaming it, and then they say, hey, they're playing in the arena. I said, what? So then that was kind of cool. They should have, at the very least, once they decided they were going to wait for the main event, had the 3 anthems start at least. That could have shaved at least 15 minutes.
Right.
15 minutes, 20 minutes before they had fought. It was not a good look to see in all the memes where you saw Canelo and Kovalev on the couch chilling like they were taking naps.
That's the defining vision or image of that fight.
I didn't like it because it looked like you're playing second fiddle to the UFC. But here's the irony. It wasn't like it was Khabib or Daniel Cormier or the heavyweight championship. It was essentially 2 guys I really like in Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, but 2 journeymen.
Right, they're not Conor McGregor.
Right, it was 2 journeymen who they did a brilliant job marketing, which, by the way, I almost had kind of an issue with. It was clever and it was great. The BMF, the baddest motherfucker, right?
Right.
Aren't the champs in the weight class really the baddest dudes? Like, aren't they the baddest dudes? Like, what does Khabib or Tony Ferguson have to say about that? So the whole thing, don't get me started on that. But the fact that they let them sort of carry the torch and being the A side, if you will, I thought was not a good look for boxing in general. We were in the arena. I told you they kind of say face having the fight. Now, where I think the bigger problem was like Nichols watching at home. What'd they do?
He wasn't happy. I saw his tweets.
There was no good college game to switch to for football. I was like, what are we doing?
Right.
Yeah. So for the subscriber, I thought it was not fair. However, they argue that their subscription base went up. Did it not?
That's what they claim, but where's the proof?
Yeah, exactly right. What are they going to say?
I have a question.
Yeah.
After watching all that, who in their right mind, after all the drinking and you're kind of tired, then at 1:10, you're really going to sign up for an app after all you've done?
Oh, East Coast. I didn't even East Coast. Forget about East Coast.
That. And that's the other issue. Now, Mario, that thing worked out for me great because I was in Carson at the top rank fight. This is the funniest thing. So my editors say, if you can get this in before the main event, I had to write 2 different columns. Fight report and the reaction report. Part of the reaction report was Tim Bradley getting his view on 130. Because our fights all went about 2 rounds, Tim had to do like a 20-minute hit at the Sports Center desk with Andre Ward and Bernardo Osuna. So I call my editors and I'm like, hey guys, look, here's the thing. They're literally breaking down the ring. And once a venue starts shutting off the lights, that's their way of telling the writers, I don't know where you're going to go, but you got to get the hell out of here. So I said, hey, guys, I sent in my fight report. I don't think I'm going to be able to get Tim transcribed and then write because they're literally throwing us out with their laptops. Yeah. So my editor said, okay, Steve, if you can get Tim, why don't you go home and try to get it done. But if you can get it done before the fight, we'd really appreciate it because we're swamped. They got to do the UFC, Canelo, and everything else. So I had to wait another 10, 15 minutes for Tim to finish up his ESPN. I'm like, oh, my God. And everyone's leaving. There's like 5 people left in the venue. I interview Tim. I get to the 110 freeway off the 91. I almost stopped for food twice, but I said, you know what? I'm I'm going to try to watch this whole fight. Now, I just want everyone to know, I was only listening into the Zone on my phone, but I had it in my earphone, and so I'm kind of listening to the broadcast. They brought out a Devin Haney interview, 10 minutes. They brought a fight preview feature with Sergio Mora and Jesse Vargas. They did another round table, and I'm thinking, hey, guys, keep going. And I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell's Mario going through here? And all these other people, you must have felt like hostages. So then
I was at the bar.
Right. Well, yeah, you get VIP treatment. So then I get home, and I'm literally running through like O.J. Simpson through the airport during those Avis commercials. I transcribed the interview, wrote the rest of my second column.
And still had time to watch the fight.
Got to watch the walk-in. I'm thinking, this is great.
That's fantastic.
And then my editors...
So it worked out well for both of us, selfishly.
Both of us were good.
Selfishly,
and my
yes.
editors go, Steve, you are a hero. And I said, no. Thank them. My view is this. If you're Golden Boy and the Zone, you have said we have the #1 star in all of combat sports, or at least boxing. That is your tentpole attraction, right? To me, I didn't like the acquiescing. This is not even second guessing. I said this before. You have to be like those soldiers.
Is it acquiescing, or are you cutting into your own audiences, which is, I'm sure, their philosophy?
Look, when I have Canelo, I'm like those soldiers at Iwo Jima. I plant that flag. I do not capitulate. Yeah. And look, this kid's already kind of temperamental and pissed off at Golden Boy.
Yeah.
To me, it's a bad optic, no matter how many subscriptions they may or may have not gotten.
Can I interrupt you for a second? What I wish would have happened, because it was a one-round knockout and the main event hadn't started and they were still in the Kelvin Gastelum fight, if they would have hurried up and they could have squeezed in the main event.
Right, and that's the point.
And still could watch the other, you understand what I'm saying? Before the UFC main event.
I mean, and they took so much heat online. And again, I know it's not the Gallup poll, but and Steven Espinoza wrote a tweet. He was very salty this weekend. He pointed out something. Over half the American population is in Central and East Coast time. Mario, we watch a lot of sports. What other sport just allows its biggest events to go on regularly past 11 o'clock?
We get real spoiled out here with Monday Night Football when it is the time it is. Can you imagine being on the East Coast and you're watching games at 9 o'clock that start? It's awful. Then you got to go to bed and wake up the next day. We get real spoiled.
So there it is. I don't think they'll make that mistake again.
No, I don't think so either.
Moving on, Saturday, Carson, California on ESPN. Mario, Miguel Berto absolutely avalanches Jason Sosa, stopping him in 4, sending him down in rounds 2 and 4 before the fight was waved off. Berchelt is a windmill.
Dude, I love Berchelt.
Oh,
I'm a fan. You know why I like Berchelt? Because he's not a perfect fighter. He gets tagged, but man, he is there to tag back. And when he lets his hands go, those are beautiful combinations. That hooked, those left hook, right hook, bam, to the body.
High,
boom,
low,
boom, bam.
left, right.
He went high and low, upstairs, downstairs, beautifully when he finally took him out. And he got tagged a little buzz in that first round when Sosa's tough.
Sosa had to work angles. When you sit in front of Berchelt, there's going to be a tidal wave of leather coming.
Yo, he lets those hands go, and every punch seems to have bad intentions. That was a fun little fight you were at. I was glad I got to catch up on that later. He's a problem for anyone in that weight class. Yeah. How does he do with that weight? Is he struggling? Is he looking to move up? What's the deal?
I think he's going to stay there for a while. If Oscar Valdez beats Andres Gutierrez on November 30th, the WBC
that fight
has said that fight has to happen. First quarter of 2020, I believe, at that LAFC stadium. Yeah. That could be the first really big event they have there.
Oh, my gosh. The bank, that would be awesome. Coincidentally, I was also by Tom... Oh, God, I can't remember his name, who he's one of the owners of the LAFC, and he was talking to me about wanting to do more fights at the bank. They were very happy with the one Top Rank did. That'd be an awesome fight in LA.
I felt bad for Jason Sosa because he's a solid, tough fighter, had never been blown out against world-class competition the last 3-4 years. He's like that dying man who's trying to get to shore in the middle of the ocean, but then a riptide catches you and you're just going to drown. I mean, there are times he's thinking about throwing punches, and all of a sudden he can only just cover up because like 18 punches are coming with a lot of bad intentions.
A lot of bad intentions. I like Berchelt.
Yeah, he's a good fighter.
He's a good fighter. I mean, he's fun to watch.
Absolutely. Mario, Thursday morning. Now, this is perfect for the Zone, who loves early morning fights. I may or may not be up. I expect you to watch this in the afternoon. From Saitama, Japan, in the Super Arena for the World Boxing Super Series Bantamweight Finals unification bout at 118. The monster, Inoue, takes on Nonito Donaire. Mario, does Donaire have that, as I called it on my ESPN column, does he have that Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope moment against George Foreman?
Listen, it's a fight. Anything can happen. He has that big left hook. With that said,
I
don't like. I wouldn't bet on him. I don't necessarily like the odds. I think it's impressive that he got himself back up to this point.
Yeah.
And in this position. But Inoue is something special, man. And that kid's the torque on his punches. Woo.
Speed and power.
It's nasty. So he's a superstar. That kid.
Couple things here. We talked about age. Look, Canelo Inoue is in his physical prime at age 26. Donaire, like Kovalev, is 36. Age matters. Also, this is how dominant the monster has been. His last 3 opponents had never been stopped. They all had championship pedigrees. Emmanuel Rodriguez, Juan Carlos Payano, and Jamie McDonald. Neither of them made it through round 2.
But based on just resume, he's got to be the fighter of the year this year. Right?
What about you beat Jacobs and Kovalev, though? I think Canelo has a case.
Yes.
And if Andy Ruiz makes it 2 for 2 against Joshua, maybe he's going to get invited to the award ceremony.
He's in the Mount Rushmore. Let's put it this way. But I'm saying just based on pure the fighters that he's fighting, the credentials that he has, just on this year, and if he's assuming he's blows out Donaire, right?
I don't think there's a more dominant fighter at a world-class level against that opposition than this Japanese monster. Here's what Nonito Donaire had to say about facing Nano Inoue this week.
I thought he looked great. I thought he looked really sensational, good power, and he looked great in that fight. And it's just a very exciting fight, I think, because you got 2 powerful guys coming into this fight, who's not afraid of each other. So I think that's what makes it very exciting.
So do you, as you approach this, I think most people think he's going to be the favorite, this or that. It's a daunting task. How do you win this fight?
There's a lot of possibilities to win fights. I mean, I've always believed in the solution to everything. I felt the same way when I fought Darcinian the first time. I felt the same way when I fought Montiel. It was a daunting task. Guys who were just incredible, and I've been there. I've done that. I know what to do. And just for me, it's just, just being out there. I think I excel more in the tougher the fight, the more that the more I show up, and that's why I always seek to fight the better fights, and that's why I've always gone out to fight bigger fights, because it always brings out the best of me, and this fight is definitely going to bring the best of me in every way of all the skills that I have.
All right, so anyway, that'll be Thursday. Make sure you catch that on The Zone. Going real quickly to the fight review. Saturday, PBC on FS1 from Oxon Hill. Javier Fortuna blows out Jesus Cuellar in 2, and Brian Castano stops Wally Amatoso in 5. Fight preview, Fresno, California on ESPN+. I'll be watching this as I get home. For the WBO 130-pound title, Jamel Herring takes on Lamont Roach. And the kissing bandit, Kubrat Pulev, makes his return against Rydell Booker. Mario, believe it or not, my editors, they're the boss. I'm the employee. I do what they say. I'm going to be at the Staples Center as KSI takes on Logan Paul in what is officially a 6-round cruiserweight battle. Mario, is this good or bad for boxing?
That's all you, player. That's all you. I don't like to listen. I'm never one to knock a guy's hustle. So these guys are obviously very popular, and they're able to generate a lot of revenue. So God bless them. But I don't like making a mockery out of the sport.
You think it does though?
Either.
So you don't.
I'm not going to give it props, bro.
No, but what about?
I'm sorry, but I'm not. And look, those guys, they get their hustle. They're able to generate a lot of good for them. God bless them. But don't ask me to comment as if it was a serious fight, because I might have to smack you.
Okay, no, that I don't disagree. But do you buy that at all? That it can create new fans or bring a new demographic, or is that overrated?
That's overrated. I really do. I think they're more just fans of them. These guys could be playing badminton, and their little loyal teeny bopper kids, whatever, are gonna tune in. I was talking to Freddie because they went to.
They had a media day there.
They had a media day. I said, Freddie, could that kid fight at all? And he goes, "Come on, that kid's garbage, Mario. You'd knock him out with your torn bicep right now." And I said, "Okay." He said that.
And speaking of Logan Paul, I had a chance to talk to him for a few minutes. This is what he had to say about his foray into professional prize fighting.
Let's go all the way back. When you're growing up as a kid, living your life, did you ever really watch boxing?
No, man. I've been a combat sports fan,
right.
MMA specifically, but no boxing. So when I entered this world, everything was foreign to me, and I happened to have a pretty quick learning curve. which worked out great. I became a boxer in 3 months, and now suddenly I'm professional. Which is interesting.
You know, it's funny on Wikipedia. I see like what you're listed as: personality, YouTuber, actor. Then it says professional boxer. Is there?
Wait, that's on my Wikipedia.
Yeah, I saw it last night. I was
shit.
I'm brushing up on you.
That's
so,
amazing.
Is there a party that's like, wow, this is surreal?
It's the weirdest thing ever. I'm living the weirdest life any human being has ever lived. It makes no sense to me.
When you started getting into the boxing thing, so did you watch any did you go to YouTube of all things and just start watching fights? Did you do any of that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm huge on absorbing and downloading, and so I watched as much as I possibly could. And even this year, we watch a lot of film. Shannon sends me stuff all the time, just to review and watch, because I'm a good student.
Yeah,
I always have been, and so the more I can just digest, the better.
Is there a particular fighter that you've seen footage on? You're like, wow, that guy's good. Like, I really admire what he does.
Yeah, there's a lot. I like Tyson Fury. I've always liked Tyson Fury, and after his fight with Deontay Wilder, when he came back from the dead, I realized this is a different breed of human. And for a big guy, the way he moves, it's incredible. But this is a ton.
Do you watch boxing now, though? If it's on TV or if there's a big fight, will you make time out of your day? So, you know what? I'm interested in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I actually do it on Dazn, ironically enough. I swear to God, hey, swipe up.
Good plug there, Logan.
I'm not even trying to promote. I watch my fights on Dazn. Every fight they have, I'm on it.
How much have you watched your first fight to study for this rematch?
A little bit, but to be honest, I don't enjoy watching that fight because I'm not the same fighter, not even remotely.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's not the same fighter.
Right.
So as much as it like that was a kid who had 3 months of boxing experience.
Right.
Now it's like I'm pushing 1.5 years.
Yeah.
So you can imagine like the exponential growth I've had skill wise. But it's good to go back, and I'm sure some of his tendencies will be the same. So we noted those. And
what's your favorite part about boxing? Just the physical aspect of it.
I am obsessed with the idea of beating someone up who's trying to beat me up. I don't know if there's a more exciting form of primal competitiveness.
Let me say, for the record, too, I actually kind of spent a little time with Logan at a Charger game. He was
He's a nice kid. I
Real
like
nice
him.
kid. Real nice kid.
I don't know what his persona is, but he's
I don't
a
know
nice
what.
guy
Yeah,
in
I heard
person,
he does crazy stuff, but he was nice with me, and he was a nice kid. So I don't, I had nothing bad to say to him. But we just came off of like Kovalev, Canelo. Don't ask me to call you. You're putting him in the same sense. I ought to smack you. Go on.
Also on this card, though, there is quote unquote real boxing. Devin Haney, who I believe is one of the most talented young fighters.
Yeah,
in the
that's
sport.
what's crazy about it.
He will be on the undercard, as will WBO 168-pound titleist Billy Joe Saunders. Going to the Ask Mario segment of the show, I am Sosuke Azon. Guys, if the hydration clause is true for the Kovalev-Canelo fight, do you think hydration clause had something to do with Kovalev's lack of power in the fight? No, I don't. I'll be honest. I spoke to some people on the Kovalev fight who were not allowed to speak about it contractually. They said, Steve, it's very reasonable. And remember, he was the IBF champion for a few years. He had always, for years, done a rehydration weigh-in.
No, if there was any issue, it would be the delay in from when they had their hands wrapped to when they entered the ring. That waiting around and your hands wrapped with it, both of them could have made that claim, right? But I'm just saying, if there's any issue, I would have took umbrage with that.
Right, and Buddy McGirt did tell me, he goes, Steve, when you wrap your hands for that long and you don't hit anything.
Right, they go numb.
Aegis Climax actually said as they're going into warming up for 15 minutes into the ring, Sergey said, oh my God, my hands are numb. And
exactly.
So it is an issue. I don't understand why the commission made them report so early.
That's weird. I know. When they knew they weren't going to go till after. Exactly.
Here's one from C's Candy. Your Chargers not only beat, but destroyed the Packers on Sunday. Where do you see the team going from here now that the offensive coordinator was finally fired? P.S. My Raiders are coming for your Chargers. The autumn wind is coming to town.
Finally getting healthy. Look at Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa. Look like, dude, that was the worst performance by Aaron Rodgers in a starting.
They stifled him.
In like, I forgot, in like something
time.
like 10 years or something crazy. So that was a pretty, impressive, dominant performance from the defense. Melvin Gordon looks like he was kind of
finally ran the ball a little bit.
Finally ran. So let's hope we carry the momentum here. Hopefully we don't go lay an egg against the Raiders.
Traditionally, Anthony Lynn teams in the second half have been very good. Keep that in mind. They're not out of it.
We're not out of it, right? Not out of it, especially on the wild card. Never not out of it.
AFC's wide open.
Here's a question from my boy Michael Montero. Daylight savings time is stupid and should be done away with. Does Mario agree or disagree?
With what, I'm sorry?
Well,
daylight savings times. Oh, dude. I mean, yeah, well, I don't know why we need it. I think it was originally for the farmers, right? Isn't that what they said? That's what they say for the farmers. No, dude, who wants to?
Of all the nights to have a long delay, was this weekend. It was the worst one because the daylight savings time was going to end. So you had people already they say we lose an hour of sleep, and then that thing didn't end till about what? 1:40?
No, I actually liked it in Vegas because I got an extra hour of sleep after partying, which was nice to make the call. By the way, afterwards I got to hang out with Andy Ruiz a little bit, who's looking slimmer.
Svelte.
He's looking svelte. Yo, the pause on that kid though.
Saw the picture.
It's like catcher's mitts. Yeah. His hands right there, but he's always such a great spirits and stuff. But he's looking good.
Brad White, who had a better night? Canelo becoming a 4-weight champion, or the UFC for making boxing's biggest star wait for them for their mythical championship to end and getting The Rock, the President of the United States, and Roberto Duran to their events?
No, they clearly had a very impressive event. Unfortunately, the fight itself was met with much criticism. How are you going to have a title called the baddest motherfucker and you're going to stop it because of a cut? Well, bad motherfuckers don't stop for cuts.
Right.
You know, so, and there was controversy, especially in the third round when Nate Diaz is known for his stamina to fight later on. So the fight itself didn't deliver. The event obviously had a lot of hoopla, but the card with Golden Boy, I thought two very impressive performances with Garcia and Canelo.
Here's one from Dishonest Truth. How much of a distraction is it to a fighter when their family and friends know they're making big money? I think it can be. When you have, and this goes for all sports, when you become the breadwinner of the whole family, and let's say you become the guy that makes it, it is an issue. People are tugging at you for money, loans, businesses, investments. You know, and there's a reason why a lot of athletes end up with almost nothing.
Yeah. Your family, unfortunately, sometimes drains you more than anything.
And what are the chances? This is from Kaiser. What are the chances we have a round robin at 140 again with the victors moving up for Crawford as they grow? Look, here's what happens. Anytime you unify titles, and this happened with Terrence Crawford, he became undisputed, and then he moved up. Now, people say that leaves a void. I look at it the different way. It leaves 4 different belts to fight, and hopefully, as Larry Merchant said, fights make fights.
Before we move on, and last thing on Canelo, we talked about the 175 with Bivol and Beterbiev. I also think there's some great matchups at 68, bro.
Callum Smith.
Smith would be. Ooh, how do you like that with Benavidez? That's interesting, huh?
I think Benavidez has a very good style for Canelo because he sits in the pocket on his heels. That's a favorable style.
And it's long, fast hands.
Yeah.
Callum Smith too, 68. It almost seems like the challenges are just as severe at 68 as 75.
No,
right?
there is. And look, I think his body fits at 68 better than 75. Mario, final flurries last week. I can't
believe we're talking about that because he was 54. It feels like 5 minutes ago.
I went to Disneyland. Couple of quick notes. As part of my thing.
Random?
As a Disney employee.
The grumpiest guy on earth went to the happiest place on earth, and it didn't help.
A couple of things. Star Tours is unbelievable.
Yeah, dude, where you been?
And I went there early, so the line was only 20 minutes.
Did you go to the Millennium Falcon? Did you go to the new Star?
Didn't go to that one. I did go to Hyperspace. That was unbelievable. Pirates of the Caribbean is still creepy. Quality ride. One other thing, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride's not really all that wild.
What are you with, like a 4-year-old?
Well, look, I went with my mother because we're supposed to go for my birthday, and it rained all day, and she's been bugging me the whole year. Yeah. So it was a great thing for her. I don't really, and also Disneyland has to be the cleanest place I have ever seen.
How long were the lines? How bad were the lines?
I went on a Wednesday. I have to tell you, for a Wednesday where people are supposed to be at school, I said to myself, how in the hell do you navigate this place on weekends and 4th of July?
So it was still pretty.
Yes.
What was the average time in a line?
About 45 minutes. After about 1 or 2 o'clock, it got pretty crowded. And here's the other thing.
45 minutes, imagine in the summer.
I hadn't been there in 30 years.
Yeah.
They have this new parking structure. I'm in awe of just getting to the park is like a ride.
You're like an old man impressed by the parking structures. We're going Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh, good luck with that.
So we're going with, oh gosh, it's gonna be crazy. But the thing about Disneyland, not only is the happiest place on earth, it's the most expensive place on earth.
It is.
Dude, you're trying to take a family. It's a grip, isn't it?
I had
you
vouchers.
Find everything?
I had Disney vouchers.
Oh, that's right. You're an ESPN guy, you rat bastard. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, and so
good for you. Yeah, good for you.
We left around 8:15, and the park closes at 11. people were still streaming in because I think it's like hangout spot for adults now, which is interesting to me because I thought it would clear out by 6.
No. They have the electric parade at night. They got all kinds of stuff going on at night. So I'll give you another full report going with kids. See how that is. One last thing we'll flurry before we got to wrap up here. When I came from Vegas, my flight was delayed. Shocker. But I jumped in a cab. I didn't even wait for the Uber to hurry up because we hurried to go see The Irishman, which is coming out on Netflix in a few weeks. But you can see it in a theater, limited theaters, literally only 2 in LA showing it.
That is limited.
And a couple of my buddies were already there, and they were in line. They told me the line was around the block.
What?
I go, what? And this is an old school theater, the Egyptian, right? So the seats are all super small. It's like you're at the Rose Bowl or on Spirit Airlines. It's just you can't move. And we got the last row. I go, I'm not going to watch the theater I'm not going to watch the movie if we end up like in the first couple rows. I can't do that for 3.5 hours. It's a 3.5 hour movie. So I'm not going to do that. So fortunately, we got seats right in the back, but there was like an overhang in front of us. It was a weird thing, and we're all kind of squished. But you know what? It was worth it.
Wow.
That movie was awesome, bro. I haven't been excited for a movie like this in a while, and it delivered on many levels.
So Cisco and Lopez gives it a thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
Wow.
Aggressive thumbs up.
Wow.
The performances, Pesci has never been better. De Niro was great. Pacino, too. And there was a lot of one-off performances that were really good. But it covers the whole era of Frank Sheeran from when he befriended Jimmy Hoffa and how the JFK assassination happened, and the mob's influence on Kennedy's, the Bay of Pigs, and they go through this whole arc. It's a scope of this man, right? They maybe could have shaved 15 minutes at the end when he's a little, but other than that, I think you would have been cheating yourself. So you got to check it out.
All right.
That's all I got to say. One
last note coming this week. I'm going to make a prediction right now. Not your average Joe Burrow of LSU will put a stranglehold on the Heisman Trophy. He will go down to Tuscaloosa. He will slay the Crimson Tide.
Who wins with the Seahawks and Niners?
Oh, Niners are going to take him to the cleaners.
Where's that game?
Let's go.
Is that at Levi
That's in the Bay
Field?
Area. Yeah,
Levi
it is.
I like the Niners at home.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one, though. Huh?
Oh, and by the way, if you want a 3 Knockdown Rule gear and mugs, go to 3knockdownrule.com. I've not given that a plug in a while. Anyway, what are your weekend plans? I'll be at the KSI Logan Paul fight on Saturday. What are you doing?
That's all you play.
Yeah.
I got to go to Houston, then Orlando, then I'm in New York for a week. Oh, we're going to take a week
Yeah,
off
we're off next week.
Thanks for letting me know.
Taking a week off. I'm letting you know right now.
All right, well, that's it for this week's edition of the 3 Knockdown Rule. On behalf of Mario Lopez and Justin Buffalo Knuckles, this is Steve Kim saying adios.